Hello SRP.
Hello.
Hello, it's that time of year again where we make some special glasses just for you.
Right.
So what I'm going to do is some facial measurements. I know the last time we made some glasses for you, I did a very extensive measurement. Some of those measurements I don't need to do again, but what I'm going to do is do some facial measurements in case there's anything different to the last time.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
So the first thing I'm going to do, if you can just look at me, and I'm going to do what's called a cover test. So first of all, I cover your left eye. As I move that away, I've got no movement at all. So I'll just try that now, covering the right eye. Perfect. No euphoria at all there. So now I'm going to measure your pupil distance, and I'm going to do mono PDs. Because of my experience, I don't need to use a mono PD ruler. So what I'd like you to do is, if you look at my finger, so I've now centred the naught straight on the centre of your pupil, and as you look across, I've got that as 64, but as I'm doing it as mono, that's 33 and 31. Making it a total PD of 64. The next measurement I want is crest height. And so with the crest height, you'll see this ruler here, and I'm actually going to be looking at these. So what I do, I put this ruler onto the crest of your bridge, and I angle it in about 10 degrees, and this will give me the height to your bottom lid, which is 8. That's your left is 8. And turn the ruler around, and I now measure it for the right. So again, I've tipped the ruler in about 10 degrees. Now this one I would say is 9, so it is slightly deeper. It's not unusual for the measurements to be different. In fact, it's more common to have them different than it is to have them all exactly the same.
Okay.
Right, so now I'm going to measure your crest projection. Now, your bridge projection is measuring where basically your eyelashes come to against the bridge of your nose. Now, if you just tip your head to the side for me, and what I'm actually doing now is looking to see, and I can see your eyelashes are quite long, and they actually project further than your nose. So I'm expecting a negative crest projection. So what I do now, I'm just going to put this onto your nose, and I'm going to tilt it down about 10 degrees, which is the effect of a frame in the pantoscopic tilt. If you want to blink for me a few times, can you feel that?
No.
How's that?
I can't
No?
feel it.
Open your eyes wider and blink. You can't feel that at
No.
all. That's all right. Just a little fraction further. There you can. Is that better?
Just missing, I think.
Yeah, that's, yeah. So as I measure that, we can see that it's just on that second line there. So that's 15. So now I'm going to measure your crest of your bridge. Now for the crest, you'll see we've got all these grooves on the ruler, and we're going to start with the biggest and work down till we find the correct size. So you'll notice straight away as I put this on, the 12 is massive, I'll move it to 10. There's still a lot of movement there. So as I move it to 9, that's getting closer. There's still some movement, but it's very little movement. And actually I've still got a little bit of movement on the 8. So as I move it to 7, and now you see that the 7, does that feel comfortable? Or does it feel a bit tight?
It's digging in a bit, that's better.
Yeah, it's the 8 is the better one. So if I tried this 6, it doesn't even,
No,
I've got a big gap. I've got a big gap at the top. So we know that the apical radius is 8.
That's better, yeah.
The next thing I'm measuring is the DBR, which is the drop. And we do 2 measurements on that. We measure at 10 and we measure at 15. When we put this on, what I'm after is 3 points of contact. So we should have a point of contact right here on the top and across here. So as I do that, I think it'll do a better measurement this way. That's better. Does that feel tight?
Slightly.
What I want is the point of contact but not tight. That's better, isn't it?
Yes, better.
So at 10, I've got that at 25. And now I'll do it from the other side. I would expect this to be slightly bigger. So as I put this on, again I'm after the same 3 points of contact. Excellent. 5 millimeters difference. Now we're after the frontal angle. I'm going to take that back off because I don't want that to get in the way. And what we're doing now is we're using this, the metal part on here. I'm going to put the nought against your head. And if I do the right first. So I'll put the nought on your nose. And what I'm after now, just bring this round until it just touches your nose. That should be pretty good. And that measures at 20 degrees. So that's the right side of the nose. And flick it round. And I do the same again, but from the left side. So again, I put the nought on top of your nose. And I bring that round. And that is more like 25. So as we look at your nose, we can see that it does look slightly different. If you look towards the camera, and you'll see the nose is slightly wider at this point than there. All right. Hence the reason everybody is different, so we need it done differently for that reason. The next measurement I'm going to do is called the splay angle. And for the splay angle, that was catching then. So for the splay angle, what I'll need to do is put this onto your nose. I angle it down about 10 degrees and just keep your eyes shut for a moment. And I'm just projecting this towards the corner. Normally you'd do it there, but as you can see now as I do that, it's just catching your eyelids. So right, so we've got that now. And let's do that from the other side. That's quite straight actually. So that's at 40. And I'll just redo that for you, the other side again. That's better. It's like the reading isn't on the other side, so it was, and that's 35. the next measurement I want to do is length of side. Now we're doing this without having a pair of spectacles on. So to do this one, what I've got to do is, if you turn your head to the side for me, and I'm going to put the nought level with your crest, and then what I'm looking at is for the top of the ear, which is 125. I've got to add on to that, I want it so that we've got the drop end, so I'm going to add about 15 mil onto that, so that's going to be 140 millimeters for the right.
And when you say measuring from a crest, what reference point are you
I'm
using?
looking at your eyelashes, because they project above, in front of the nose. If your crest, if your bridge was further than your eyelashes, I'd be measuring from the edge of your nose.
So if the lashes project more than the nose, you measure from the eyelashes?
Yes.
If it's more the bridge, you measure from the bridge?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
And obviously the reason for that is when we've got the frame made up for you, what we don't want is for it to be so close that your eyelashes are touching the lenses. So I need to measure the other side now. So again, I'm projecting from the crest. That's 120, so that's actually 135. So if you tip your head forward, and what I'm going to do now is just check with my fingers, and yeah, I can see that there's quite a big difference between the two, but again, it's quite normal.
Okay.
Right, so the last thing I want to do now is measure for your head width. Now, it's probably easier if I've got a facial gauge, or a head gauge I should say, but I don't have one of those at the moment here. So I'm going to use my facial gauge and my city rule.
Okay.
So what I'll do, I'll just put the ruler on top of your head. I've got the bar straight, and I'm going straight above your ears. And I'll get that as 160. So I've measured it in centimetres, but I need to transfer that to millimetres, so it's 160 millimetre width. Alright?
Okay.
Now that should be enough to make up some spectacles. But what I'm going to do now is just put this frame on you, and we can see here.
Look in the mirror at them.
You can, yeah. And what you'll notice, it's a good width on this bridge. I've picked out the size according to your measurements.
Oh, these are the best dimensions.
So they're the dimensions. It's not the style of frame you want, I know, but we use this as a guideline.
This is how it'll feel, won't it, really?
Yeah, and you'll see across here that it's not tight, but and there is enough room at the temple for some movement, and also the length of the side is correct for your measurements.
Lovely. So
So you'll notice that it's very comfortable even behind your ears.
yeah. Lovely.
All right, that's excellent.
So I've just got to wait now.
Yeah,